This is like bloopers, isn't it? Hey guys, so today we are carrying on the renovation of my own lawn. 2 or 3 weeks ago we put some Roundup on the lawn to kill it off because we've got these weed grasses in the lawn. Thankfully they've all died off. Now, I've had a lot of comments from people saying, why don't you dig them out? Why don't you put some more weed killer on? Well, I haven't got the time, and do you know what? If they come back, I'm going to start verticutting regularly or slicing into it with a knife, and we'll just see how we get on. If it all goes terribly wrong, then we can redo it again in autumn, can't we, in a few months? But this is the plan. So today we're going to scarify, aerate, overseed and top dress. So I'm going to crack on. Right, so we've been over once and it's coming out really easily because everything is completely dead. So it all rakes out nice and easily. We're getting some good clean grooves. I am just going to hand scarify around the edges to get into the parts where the machine can't get, and then I'm going to go over a second time but in a different direction. Then we're going to aerate, then we're going to clear it all up, then we're going to overseed, top dress and do a funny dance. Scarified it twice, and in a lot of places, like on this left hand side where the grass was weaker anyway, there's a lot of nicely exposed soil. We can see the grooves in the soil in which the seeds will go in, but then in other areas it's still a little bit dense and it's not an easy way for the seeds to fall down. So we're going to go over one more time with the scarifier, and that should be just about it. Okay, so that's the third scarify done. I'm pretty happy with things how they are now. We can see plenty of grooves in the soil, nice and evenly. There are just 1 or 2 small areas that we can't quite see all of the soil, just 1 or 2. So I'm going to go over these now with the hand scarifier just to thin those out a little bit more. Alright, so 3 times been scarified really heavily now. We've thinned out the dead matter a lot, and we can see plenty of soil grooves. That's the important part. Wherever we look now, you can see the grooves in the soil. Seeds will drop in there and they'll germinate well. And it's the same all the way up to the edges and all the way down. So this is going to become a thing of beauty in the next few weeks. So what I'm going to do now is use the Holotine aerator machine. Now you can do it by hand with a manual aerator, like this one. Okay, this is the Swardman Holotine aerator. It's a good bit of kit. We've done some videos on Holotine aerators, expensive premium ones and inexpensive ones. The inexpensive ones usually come with 2 of these tines, but they're not replaceable. These more expensive ones tend to come with 3, but they're replaceable, and the soil gets pushed up and ejected out, so they don't clog up as much. All of them will clog up at some point, but they don't clog up as much. So if you haven't got a machine, you can just push this into the ground about every 3 or 4 inches across your lawn, and you will have aerated the top 2 inches. I'm going to do it with the machine, and I will save this for when we get to tight corners where the machine can't access. Now we just cleared all the cores off with the blower into the border, which we'll tackle later on when I clean the border out. But I just need to aerate in this corner where the machine couldn't quite get. And what I should have done is aerate before we did all the blowing, but not to worry. If your ground is nice and soft, you can just push it in like so. And as long as you're putting holes in, you are improving the ground. You might be putting a bit of compaction deeper down, but do you know what? It's not so much of an issue every now and again. Or you can just push down about every 3 or 4 inches. Now, I don't know why I bother seeding this corner, because it's always the first to thin, but it will do for now. Just want to show you something. Next door's garden, I actually helped to renovate that with the customer's help, and it was very bumpy. It was full of weeds, so we actually dug them out by hand and did quite a bit of levelling off, and then we seeded and dressed, and it's been pretty good, touch wood, ever since. Okay, so now we're at the point where we're ready to get some seeds on, and what we've got this Hurl's seeds, and it's a CSI turf, PRG and CSI, which is a 30% creeping ryegrasses, and then the other is like 2 different dwarf ryegrasses. They'll give some nice green colour, and we've got some creeping capabilities, which should help to stop germination and formation of new weed seeds to a degree. As long as we can get it nice and tight and keep it full of grass, we'll stand a better chance. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to put a little bit of light fertiliser on. It's just a balanced sort of fertiliser, just a very nice light dusting. I'm also going to put a very light dusting of gypsum down as well, because there is a small element of clay within my lawn, and we do struggle in the shade, and it tends to thin out a bit here. So some gypsum going in is just going to help the soil to flocculate, and that means to just break it up a little bit to let everything drain through that little bit easier. So there's many ways to get your seeds onto your lawn. You can take a handful and you can scatter it, which I sometimes do. You can put some into your hand spreader and turn that handle round and walk up and down. Some seeds go down nice and easy, others just don't come out very fast. Or you could get a drop spreader. So I've got all 3 of those. I'm going to try it with this first, because this, if the seeds go through okay, then this is quite a fast way of doing it. But you've got to make sure that they don't go into the border, because then you've got a lot of grass that you need to dig out. Safety first. Okay. So I'm going to open it up onto the maximum setting, and we'll just see how we get on. Oh, that's absolutely beautiful. They're coming out really, really well. Good coverage. We may only need to go over once, possibly twice, and we'll have the whole lawn done. So I'm going to set you guys up to watch that. So all we're doing is we're walking up and down. Okay, that is the seed on. So we went over first with the hand spreader, and then we just walked over and looked at any bits which were a bit thin, and we did them by hand. And what we're aiming for is just a good even coverage, but not like piles of seeds. A little bit of a gap between each one is absolutely fine. Obviously, if you've got nothing down and it's bare soil, pretty much like this, then you want a fairly heavy dose, heavy amount. But if you've already got a decent amount of grass there and you've just scarified and you're just looking to overseed, then you only want a lighter dose of seeds going down. So now we're going to get some top dressing on. Basically some multi-purpose compost, which is in these green bags, and it's just to cover the seeds and to get some organic goodness into the ground. And some of the compost actually goes down the holes and in time will improve the soil. And it improves the soil because you're getting organic matter in there, which feeds the microbial life in the ground. And later on, it encourages earthworm activity. So you are changing what the ground is. If it's a little bit of clay, you are making improvements. Clay lawns, humic acid, compost, bit of gypsum, regular. All these things will slowly improve the lawn. So now we'll get the top dressing on. Okay, so we have put the compost dressing on. Getting some compost into the ground is getting organics into the ground, which will improve the soil. So that is good. And also covering the seeds means the birds can't get to it quite so easy. And it protects them a little bit from wind and also from heavy rain. But it's more about getting a covering on and getting some goodness back into the ground after we've killed it all off. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to get a brush. There's a little pile here which built up when I was filling up the spreader. I'm just going to brush that aside a bit so it's a similar sort of thickness overall. Then I'm going to get the roller and give it a good roller in. Then I'm going to spray it and then we'll give it a good watering. Right guys, that is it pretty much. You could leave your lawn at this state now and just keep watering it on a regular basis. Not too heavy, just a nice fine mist coming down onto the lawn. Try and keep it damp as much as you can over the next 2 to 3 weeks and then gradually ease off over the weeks after that. But then maintain watering a couple of times a week but deeply. There's a bird up there. I need to get this lawn sorted as soon as, so I'm going to put a wetting agent on now. I'm putting emerald green on, which is my own version. We'll get this sprayed on, watered in. That bird's having a field day. And that is it. We are done and dusted. You can leave it like that now, give it a light watering in, and then come out 2 or 3 times a day, a nice light mist coming down, no heavy jets of water. You can point it up and let the rain come down. Try and keep it damp as much as you can. You might have to go 3 times, 4 times a day when it gets really hot, possibly even 5. And within a couple of weeks, most of it will be up. It'll come up in patches, but then eventually it will all come up to match. If you want to take things a step further, you can cover your lawn with a garden fleece, which I have purchased and I'm going to put down once it's dried out a little bit after we've put the watering on. So if you've got any questions or comments, please pop them down below. We'll see you guys on the next one. If you've really enjoyed this, I appreciate a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe if you want to. Right, so this is the programmable timer I'm going to be using. It's by Aqualin. You take the front cover off, you can set your time, so you press and hold time, and then you select your hours and minutes. I've already done that. And to get to the batteries, you just squeeze these 2 blue terminals and gently slide it out. And there you can put your batteries in. So, to attach it, you undo the grey collar. Okay. This has got a screw onto there, but you want that on as well. So you've got the threaded section in there. And just gently twist that on. You only want to be doing it hand tight. So that is on hand tight. And then you can set up your programmable timer like so. And that's it. So now we're just going to set the times and the amount of watering we want to do. Okay, so before we do the programming, we've got this little battery thing here. This will flash if the battery is getting low. So it's just something to be aware of and keep an eye on. So we start programming by pressing the program button, PROG. I'm just taking that back to the beginning. So you've got 8 cycles off and on there. So we press program. We're on program 1, on. What time do we want to come on? So we'll press the hour button and we'll have it coming on at 6 AM. Now we're currently set Monday to Sunday, every single day. You can change this. There are plenty of instructions that come with it. And then we press program again. So 1 off. And we'll go with 6:0. Oops, sorry. So 1 on is 6 o'clock, 1 off is 6:06. So 6 minutes of watering. And then we go to program number 2. So I want it to come on about every 2 or 3 hours or something like that. So we're going to go for about 8:30. So 8. And the minute, we'll change that to 30. Okay, and press program. So the off time, oops, let's do that again. 8, we'll go for 8:36. Okay, so let's just run through what I've done. So press program. It's going to come on at 6 AM every single day,
and go off at 6:06. It's going to come on at 8:30 and go off at 8:36. It's going to come on at 11 and go off at 11:06. It's going to come on at 1 and go off at 1:06. Come on at 3, come on at 3:06, go off at 3:06. It's going to come on at 5 and go off at 5:06. It's going to come on at 7 and go off at 7:06. And finally come on at 9 o'clock and go off at 9:06. That is it. That is plenty of water in to keep it nice and moist, whether I'm here or not. All set up, good to go.
Now, one thing I will recommend is every time you renew this, and every spring, get a new set of these. Okay? They don't cost much, and what you don't want is your hose pipe popping off because of the water pressure. Over a year, things wear down, things break down, so just get a new set of these. The ones with the red collars on will stop water flowing out unless it's connected, so you can easily disconnect and you're not going to get water gushing out. The other ones don't have that valve. And all we're going to be doing is putting that onto the bottom of there. We'll get that connected up and get the hose pipe on, and we're good to go. And the final thing is to put the waterproof cover back on, and when you're all set up, you just turn your tap on, and we're good to go. I have got another watering system coming very soon based on Wi-Fi, but it's not here yet, so I'm using this one. But this is perfectly good for what you need. But if you want more control with a lot of data and rain sensors and things like that, and being able to control it from your phone, watch out for an upcoming video on that. So what I recommend, you get your little brass fittings, put that onto there. Okay, that's now set up, it's watertight. And then you take your new connector and you are good to go. That is it, that is on, connected. We'll get the hose pipe connected onto this end and we are good to go. So that's going to go on there like so. These are called Aqua Stop, by the way. So to take these off and change them, hold the yellow and untwist the grey. Let that slide down and then just gently pull the hose pipe out. Inspect it, it's in good condition. We'll put that one down there. Even though it works fine, I don't want any of these popping off when I'm not here. So I've just taken that off actually, because we're going to use the new one. You're alright, no worries mate. I'll edit that out. So you let that, put that onto there and just gently get the ends inside of the little red teeth there. You don't want to bend those in, so I kind of just gently twist it on, and then once you're well inside, push really hard, and then get this grey collar, screw it up nice and tight, and you are good to go. Don't forget to do the other end as well. This is the end where your whatever you're using to spray connects into, but really you want to replace this one as well. So this works on solenoids and will now operate based on the times that we've set. But if you want to go to manual, you press manual and it's on. Okay, and that lets water out. But if we switch it to auto, manual, You switch it to auto, which I have done, and the little arrow is now pointing to the auto symbol. The water is on, but there's nothing coming out of here. Whereas if we switch it to manual, oh, it's off, and we switch it to on, off, on. You see? Now we go auto and off. So that's the solenoids opening and closing.